Hello again guys, and welcome back to another Big Al Devlin video here at the House of Devlin. Today's video is going to be my opinion and my advice on how to get big and strong, okay? Especially if you're starting out or you suddenly hit a plateau and you don't know what's going on. This video may benefit yourselves. Now, when I first started weightlifting, which was really when I started taking it serious, roughly about 10 years ago when I was about 20, for me, I weighed in at roughly 10, just over 10 stone, about 10 and a half stone, okay, about 65 kilos, thereabouts, 147 pounds, okay. I'm now just a shade off 20 stone, okay, 280 pounds, about 124, 125 kilograms, okay. So I have literally pretty much doubled my weight, not quite, but very, very close to doubled my body weight. And for me, it's really, now that I've, at the beginning, guys, I know it's hard, it's difficult. I remember my first year, I didn't put anything on, didn't put a single pound on. I got in better condition, yes, but so I probably did gain muscle and size, and I certainly gained a hell of a lot of strength over that year. But I also improved my conditioning, so I lost fat at the same time. So I didn't gain in any weight in the first year. But then once I sort of, my body kind of got into the shape that it needed to be in, I then really started to develop and make really big gains and improvements in my size and my strength and my muscularity. Now, for me, the biggest thing to accept, and this is going to sound really brutal, guys, is its commitment and dedication. And it takes a long time to develop muscle. There are no shortcuts, guys. There are no quick gains, quick fixes, and anyone who tells you that you can do this and get results in almost instantly or whatever, they're lying to you, or they're deluded themselves. Okay. The brutal, honest answer is it's going to take a lot of work at your end, and it's going to take a lot of time. And if you don't like that, then this video ain't for you, because I'm just telling you how it is, brutally honest. It takes so much time, so much blood, tears, sweat, the whole shebang, okay? But the good news of that, it's double-ended sort of double-edged sword, so to speak, is that no matter what your body type, no matter if you're a hard gainer, easy gainer, no matter what your genetics, basically, you can always gain size. There are some guys out there, for example, who, like myself, who gain size fairly easily. There are those who gain size far easier than me. There are those who struggle to gain size, the hard gainers, but can show off their abs, like, whilst eating Mars bars every day, right? We're all genetically different. We're all, got our gifts and our virtues, so to speak, and we all have our negatives. We don't get a full set of cards. It's very rare that we get a full set of cards to play with, and those that do tend to be, the top in the world at bodybuilding, and the Mr. Olympias and stuff, because they can gain size and get ripped at the same time. Now, regardless of that, the genetic freaks who are just, going to be looking brilliant no matter what. The rest of us, okay, regardless of what you want to do, gain size or get big or, gain strength, it all tends to come together, kind of all together. You can't get bigger without getting stronger, but you can't get bigger really without getting stronger either. It kind of all comes together, you can't increase one without the other. The first and most important thing is to get your diet sorted, okay? Now, this doesn't mean eat clean, eat like a bodybuilder, grilled chicken every day with boiled rice and that. If you want to do that, then fantastic. That will serve you brilliantly and very well. I'm very much an advocate of good diet, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it's not necessary. I don't practice that, and I'm not going to be hypocritical and say do as I say and don't do as I do. I don't eat super clean. I eat fairly clean, but I don't. What I do believe in is eating a healthy, balanced diet that is substantial enough in the calorie content, and good enough regards the breakdown of those calories, such as in complex carbohydrates, simple sugars, fats, proteins, that the composition is good enough for your body to work with, to not only maintain any gains that you've already got, i.e. maintain the size that you have, but to also then promote anabolic growth, essentially. So basically, if you want to grow, you need to feed your body. You want to grow, your body needs energy and you need to give it. If you're not eating enough, you ain't going to grow. And your food, as you get bigger, as you get stronger over the years, will need to increase. Okay, you can't eat, and this is the mistake that I've made in the past, you can't eat what you used to when you first started. I don't like eating. I don't like food. I find it laborious. I find it a chore. To me, it's the hardest thing about getting big and being big and staying big. I don't like eating. I'll find any excuse not to eat. And I know most people will looking at me, will kind of go, yeah, right, are you kidding? But I really don't, for me, I'm still in my head trying to eat like I did when I was 10.5 stone, but I'm 20 stone now. And you can understand that's going to be a problem. Well, it's a problem at the beginning as well. If you're not eating what your body needs, whatever it is, then you're not going to grow. Get your diet sorted. The other thing is sleep. When we sleep, that's the time when we heal and we repair. If we have a hard workout, then I can guarantee you that the day after, if you've stayed up all night playing computer games or just watching telly or just doing nothing but stayed up, you'll be aching like fuck the day after. But if you've slept, you might feel quite fresh and you feel like, you feel that kind of pump that you sometimes get off the workout. You'll certainly be a lot more refreshed, and over time, a good healthy sleep pattern, regular sleep, with decent amount of hours every night, will really benefit you. If you don't sleep, again, that is something that will hinder your growth. Now, that doesn't mean you have to sleep during the day, and now I don't do that. I sleep about probably an average of 6 hours a night. Okay, so I don't sleep a huge amount, but I do sleep 6 hours every night, and I have pretty much a regular pattern to that, from 10 till whenever, the early hours of the morning when I get up. Okay, and so that is something that I stick to, and it's something that I recommend also. And now, of course, we're getting to the itty-gritty bit, the bit that you guys are going to want to hear: weight training. What do you do regards going to the gym to get bigger? Okay, we're one step away from getting to the itty-gritty that you're going to want to hear, which is the weights. The first and foremost thing when you first start is to not take for granted what you already have. Most likely, you're already fairly fit and healthy. You can walk up and down stairs, you can go for a short walk down to the local grocery store or something along those lines. You can commute to work without getting out of breath, right? As you get bigger, fitness can go through the floor. Because imagine what you are now, or like I was when I was 10 stone, put a 10 stone backpack on my back and ask me to do the same thing, I'm going to get out of breath far more quickly than I would without that weight. And the same kind of principle applies to your body weight. As your body weight goes up, it can get harder, but it only gets harder if you don't look after your fitness as you go along. You lose your fitness, it's really hard to get back, but if you maintain it as you go along, which doesn't take a huge amount, just go for a couple of walks every now and then, walk once a day, something like that, half an hour walk, a little bit of cardio here and there, and you will maintain your cardio. That's all you need to do, just a little bit, okay? There's no point being the biggest, strongest motherfucker out there if you're not healthy, okay? Because you can die the age of 30, and no one wants that. Trust me, no one wants that once you're starting to face those situations. Look after your health, and no matter how immortal, no matter how dedicated and that you want to be to getting bigger and stronger, never throw your health away. And then when it comes to weights, let's talk about the fun stuff. Okay, well, weight training is something that's pretty simple. At the end of the day, if you lift big ass heavy weights that are unnaturally heavy for your body to be lifting for repetitive motions, then your body will tend to respond to that with hypertrophy, growth of muscle. Okay, your muscle will get bigger and will get stronger, especially when all those previous things I've just mentioned, such as sleep, food, everything like that, are there. Your body will respond. It will take time, but it will respond. And so if you regularly go down to the gym at least 3 times a week, I would say, preferably between 3 to 5 times a week, so you've still got a couple of days of rest to recover, then your body over time will start to change in shape. It will increase in size, it will increase in muscularity, you'll most likely lose a bit of fat, or at least keep the same kind of condition you've got, but your shape will change because you'll look slimmer, because your muscle will be getting bigger, but the fat will be staying the same. That's the ideal situation. Now, in regards to the weights that you lift, always start when you're first starting to do weightlifting on fairly light weights. Okay, there's no point jumping straight into the deep end because you don't know how far your deep end is to start off with, and also it's really hard on your body doing heavy weights. It's when you tend to tear, and you tend to have to have a little bit more experience to be able to handle heavier weights. And at the beginning, your heavy weights are not going to be heavy anyway, so there's no reason to jump straight into something that could potentially hurt your body and isn't going to be that impressive anyway. Okay, now the best place to start is, well, first of all, get a spot and test roughly what your maximum strength is, but without seriously punishing yourself. Go in there, find out what your 1 rep max is for the main compound lifts, so bench press, deadlift, squat, shoulder press if you can, seated shoulder press, okay? Sometimes called military press. Now, I know I just said don't do the heavy weights, but that's the first, you just do them once each kind of thing over a space of a couple of weeks, just to find out roughly where your strength is. And then you base your workouts off of that. So if you're working typically normally around 60 to 70% of your max, you know that you can get between 16 and 20 reps on that, and you should be. If you're working on 40% of what your maximum lift is for whatever lift it is, the chances are the weight's too light. You're wasting your time because you should never really want to do more than 20 reps in a single set. There are exceptions, of course. There are always exceptions, and there are times when, for example, I can my personal bench press record is 180 kilos. I'm about 160 at the moment, but at my best I've done 180. And I can make 60 kilos feel hard, which is 30% right of my max in theory, or around about 40% if you're looking at my 160, which I'm currently at. I can make that hard. I can make that entire workout, but that's because I know what I'm doing. I'm experienced, and I would only do that very, once in a blue moon. I would not turn that into a workout, okay? But what I would do is, for example, do sets of 20 on 100 kilos. I know I can do, as I say, I'm roughly 150, 160 kilos for my 1 rep max at the moment. And the best of it on 100 kilos is 34 reps. But I really benefit from doing sets of 20 on roughly 100 kilograms. Okay, and so you're looking at around about, as I say, the 60% mark is roughly 20 reps. As you go closer to your max, the reps drop. And this is the same not just for bench press, but squat, deadlift, all the different lifts, okay? And as you get closer, the reps should go down. So to start off with, as I say, you're going to be looking at trying to do sets of 20 for about 2 to 3 working sets minimum, really, on the compound lift. And then you will supplement those lifts, those compound lifts, with accessory workouts. So you'll go on the machines, for example, and you'll do, maybe a bit of triceps after doing chest, for example, and you do a lot of tricep work, and you'll do a bit of pec deck just to loosen up the chest, things like this. But these we don't count. These are kind of additional bits that you add onto your compound lift. The compound lift is the most important foundational element to your workout. Okay. Then, as you get a bit stronger, and as your body's starting to get used to doing high repage, you go up a little bit heavier. You move into your medium phase. This will take roughly 3 months to get into. When you go into your medium phase, you're looking to try to get between 8 to 12 reps from your from each set. Okay, and for this, you're looking probably nearer 70 to 75% of your maximum lift, for example. Thereabouts. Okay, you'll work out the percentages as you go along. You'll see roughly what you're capable of doing. What the best way to do it is to see how many reps you can get on a certain weight going at full capacity, and if, for example, it's 16 reps is absolutely max, but you can only do one set of it, and it fucks you up. And you're aching for a couple of days. Then maybe that's your 10 to 12 rep range. You don't always have to work towards 100%. You just take it a little bit beneath, around a 90% effort for everything that you do. Okay, because you want to leave a little bit of energy in your body after every workout to grow. Okay, you don't want to completely deplete yourself. Only when you're preparing for something like a competition, you really start pushing the boats out, or when you're trying to push your personal bests just for the sake of doing so, for example. Then, after 3 months of doing between 12 and then eventually down to 8 reps, as you start getting it heavier, you'll enter your heavy phase, which again you'll be in for roughly another 3-month period. And this is when, it might initially start off at around 6 reps for a set, but quite quickly you'll drop it down between a single rep and 4 reps for every set that you're going for. So you're going almost 100% max. Even when you're doing your single rep max, you can go as heavy as you can, but I would always recommend going sort of 95, at most 98% of what you really can do, because the problem is, as I say, and if you're not getting paid for it, if you're not getting paid to do a lift, why risk an injury? And when you go 100%, a risk of injury is at its highest possible chance. If you just take it down just a couple of percent, 5 at most, you'll still benefit from lifting that weight, but the risk of injury comes down exponentially. It's still a risk, but it gets a lot less likely. And I've done it, I've had loads of injuries over the years and stuff like that. Everyone who's been weightlifting for any substantial period of time will have probably half a dozen injuries that they'll be able to tell you about at the very least, and pretty much all the time it's either showing off or it's pushing your body simply too hard. It's about being intelligent, and as you get older, around sort of the time frame that I've been in it now, touch wood, I'm intelligent enough to try to actually kind of avoid injuries now, because I never fully go all out until I need to, and I absolutely need to, and I'll make sure that my body's prepared for it before I do. Now, I've taken you through how to go heavier, essentially. So 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. So overall 9 months, and you'll be at your maximum weight, and you will be pushing your PBs way beyond, because those previous 9 months, well, the full 9 months worth of preparation that you've had, you'll be pushing your PBs far beyond where they were when you first started. Now, do you stay in that heavy phase? Do you keep trying to press heavy weights again and again and again? Well, a lot of guys, this is what they do. They stay there. They keep just going for max again and again and again for the rest of their lives, pretty much. Okay, and they will plateau. They peak, and they never get beyond a certain level. The body, you must treat it like the tide. The tide is a very powerful force, isn't it? It goes into the shore, and then it comes back out, and it comes back in, but it pushes a little bit further this time up the coast, and then it goes back out, and it goes in again, and eventually it will come all the way inland, and over the years it will start breaking apart cliff faces and that. The tide is a very powerful force indeed, and it always wins, it always progresses. If there's any barriers in the way, it will smash those barriers to pieces, given a long enough period of time. And this is the same approach that you must take with your body when it comes to putting size on. You can't keep trying to push forwards, because eventually you're gonna break. But if you pull back and go back into another light phase, and then a medium phase, and then a heavy phase, the next time you get to this heavy phase, you'll be that little bit beyond where you were before. You then go back, and in this light phase, you're doing more than what you were in your previous 2 light phases. You're medium and you're heavy, and you're a little bit further over here. And again, and so progressively, step by step, this is why it takes years, you gradually increase your strength, your size, and your conditioning over time. And you really get used to the lifts over that period of time. Your body will start communicating with you, and you won't even need to sort of check a calendar, or is it roughly 3 months into my cycle or whatever. Your body will be telling you it's time to move on. It's time to start going into whatever the next phase is. Your body will communicate with you. It will develop this kind of biological clock, if you wish. And when you get to that point, it's a real sense of achievement. And this is, to me, the key to getting big and the key to getting strong. All the basics that I started the video with, I imagine most people turned off halfway through that. But the guys who have stayed here now, I've got really now all the information they need to go out there and become as big and as strong as they want, as big and as strong as their body allows them. All you got to do is commit to it, dedicate it to yourself to it, and accept that this is something now that will become a lifestyle for you for many years to come. Alright guys, I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you soon.